Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Find Your Fire Tribe. This is another wonderful Find Your Fire Friday event. For those of you who haven't met me before or come to one of our events, I'm Wendy Orching, founder of Healing Spaces Caribbean and the tribe mom of the Find Your Fire Tribe. And every Monday and every Friday, we offer you a wonderful chi lifting, chi energizing, chi expanding event. And today's event is Elspeth Duncan, founder of Venus, Doggess of Love, talking to us about how love changes lives. Elspeth, welcome. Thank you so much for being here for us today. We're looking forward to chatting with you. And to those of you who are here live in Zoom, thank you for joining us. Those of you who are watching us on Facebook, please type #live in the chat. And anybody who catches the replay, type #replay and leave your comments, because Elspeth will certainly be following the thread and answering any questions you might have. So once again, Elspeth, welcome.
Thank you, Wendy. Hi, everybody. My name is Elspeth Duncan, and I am in no particular order of importance. I am a columnist with the Newsday, columnist and feature writer. I am a musician, filmmaker, Kundalini yoga instructor, artist, lots of different things. And as the topic of this particular talk goes, I'm also an animal activist, an animal rescuer. And I have an NGO known as Venus, Doggess of Love, and that is named after my dog, Venus. I live in Tobago.
Sorry, Elspeth. I wanted to say some more introduction to you. This is one of the most amazing, multi-talented, multifaceted women I know. And I am so happy that she lives in Tobago and she's my friend. Go ahead, Elspeth.
Thanks, Wendy. Wendy is like the cheerleading club. So I live in Tobago with my dog, Venus. I have 2 other dogs, Sheba and Brindle, and 3 cats. And also something called the Canine Cottage, which is a rustic facility that we built for Venus Doggess of Love for the NGO. So we put our rescue dogs in that cottage, and we currently have 3 tenants in the cottage, 3 dogs, 4 actually. One is being spayed right now. She was spayed and she's just recovering at the shelter, and then she'll come back to the cottage.
Elspeth, Elspeth, before we go there, can you tell us a little bit about what brought you to Tobago?
Yes, what brought me to Tobago really was my intuition. Something just told me to move to Tobago, and I moved. I wasn't really thinking about it. I was actually abroad. I was in England, and something literally said, don't go back to Trinidad. And somehow that translated into go to Tobago. And that's how I ended up in Tobago and that was 10 years ago. This October will be 10 years.
Were you always involved in animal rescues before you came to Tobago, or did something in Tobago trigger that part of your life?
I've always been an animal lover, and I've always had pets. I've grown up with animals. For my first birthday, I got a puppy, and she grew up with me. She went to school with me every day. All of our dogs went to school. The primary school we lived at was like 1 minute walk from home. So all our dogs went to school. And just playing with animals in the garden, whether it's snakes, spiders, snails, I've always been into animals. And then when I moved to Tobago, quite by chance, I ended up adopting Venus from the shelter. I went to write an article on the shelter, and I chose a puppy to take a picture of for the article. And it happened to be Venus, and she just gazed into my eyes, and I wasn't intending to adopt any pups, anything. And I just said, no, I have to take this puppy.
Do you have this puppy standing by to show us by any chance?
This puppy is currently, she's now, when did I get her? 2014, so she's 8. Oh my goodness. She's currently fast asleep on the edge there. I can tempt her at some point with some snacks, some treats, but she doesn't really trust me right now because the vet just came and gave her a shot.
Okay, so why did you call this puppy Venus?
She just looked like a Venus. I don't know what it was. She looked like Venus, and of course the name Venus, Goddess of Love, which is the goddess of love and beauty. And I just switched it around. Venus, Doggess of Love, was my nickname for her. And I used to put pictures of her on Facebook, when she was a pup, and people said, oh, she's so cute, she should have her own page. So just as a joke, I started off a Facebook page for her, and I would post pictures, and then it just became what it is today, which is an animal rescue page. And how that happened is that as I adopted Venus, different animals started being drawn to us. Like, it was like we became magnets for animals that needed help. First one actually was a little chicken called Magnet, who became Venus's best friend, and long story there. But yeah, then there was this emaciated dog that just turned up, then a kitten, then seagulls. It's like every imaginable thing just started coming to us, and that's how the whole animal rescue thing just unfolded.
I remember a pelican as well.
Yeah, there was a pelican too, Mia.
Everyone has a name, of course.
Everybody has a name. Actually, a little girl from Norway, she didn't find the pelican, but the pelican turned up at their hotel where they were staying by the pool, and the little girl's name was Mia. So she and her mother called me to help the pelican, which was injured, and the little girl named her Mia. And she came and she stayed with me for a few days, the pelican. And after about the 6th day, she flew away. She was healed and she flew away.
I remember you asking people to help provide fish for this pelican to eat. I remember that.
Oh yeah, she was a very expensive pelican. She only liked red snapper. Refused to eat any of the free bait. You know, the free bait you get in the sayings? Didn't eat any of that. She wanted red snapper, which is like hundreds. The bill ended up being like hundreds of dollars for her diet.
Tell us the story of Magnet, because I remember when Magnet you found Magnet on the street, I think, as a tiny little chickie.
Yeah, Magnet, it was a very rainy day, and Venus and I were driving, and saw this black thing in the middle of the road, and I stopped and got it. It was a chicken. And when we got home, the chicken gravitated towards Venus, thinking, I guess, that Venus was the mother. And the two of them just became great friends. I mean, the chicken trusted Venus, and Venus was so gentle with the chicken to the extent that I have a picture of Venus with her mouth wide open and Magnet pushing the head inside the mouth, and Venus just kept her mouth open until Magnet came back out. So they had a wonderful relationship, and I documented it constantly in black and white footage. And in 2018...
There's a movie, isn't there? There's a movie about Venus and... Yeah? Yeah,
in 2018, I put all the footage together and created a film, and that won the best short film at the TT Film Festival that year, 2018.
Elspeth. So Elspeth, we've gone from a young girl who grew up with pets, with animals, to a girl who moved to Tobago and found Venus, and people loved Venus. I remember when Venus was actually a tourist attraction in Tobago, and people were flying in looking to meet Venus because of you featured her widely and the adventures of Venus. But somehow then, Elspeth, you evolved into being one of the primary animal rescuers in Tobago. When somebody sees an animal anywhere in Tobago that they realize needs help and they want to help that animal, they think of Elspeth. What made that transition become such a solid part of your life? Tell us what made Venus Doggess of Life become, I believe, the major thing that you do now. Yes, tell me.
And that is Venus joining in. Venus is telling us. Yeah, what made it that way is that I think the Facebook page has a lot to do with it, because I document every single thing that Venus, I say Venus meaning me or whatever is happening with the NGO, with the rescues. Anything that Venus does, I document on the page in video, photos, or anecdotes. And so people are constantly reading about it, and constantly, it's very transparent. You know what happens to an animal, you know what it costs, you know the results of the animal. And I would say that Venus has had like 99.99999 success rate in terms of rescues. And when I say that, meaning going to people, I would say if something is not...
Mary needs to mute her mic, that's all.
Close the door.
Yeah, I mean, one or two animals.
But tell us how you got there, from, showing everything about Venus's life, and then the animals started coming into your life. But what made it so that this became mostly what you do?
That's exactly it. I think constantly documenting it and showing people through that window, so people become involved, makes them realize that, okay, I see an injured animal, and it raised the awareness of the whole thing.
Hold on, stop, hold on. Drop it. I have to toss my dog out. I had to do an animal rescue.
Hummingbird.
Oh my goodness. So that's going to be an interesting part of the video. I had to go and do an animal rescue. My dog Shanna literally had a banana quit in her mouth.
Oh no.
So I have rescued. The bird is now flying around my house and my dog is out.
Uh-oh.
I couldn't catch the bird, so I had to catch a dog. So okay. So, it's really going to be an interesting replay. So, Elspeth, go ahead while I calm down.
Yeah, and that's it. I think the awareness of the fact that animals are constantly being rescued and having good outcomes, whether they're ending up in great homes, or I think that is what drew people into the fact that there is something called Venus Doggess of Love, and that if you want an animal to have a good outcome, call Venus. So that's how it got. And then the more people who call is the more busy I get. And also living in Tobago, my eyes are now tuned to an animal. I mean, friends of mine joke and say, oh gosh, we could be in the middle of a forest or dense bushes, and you have these X-ray eyes that could see some injured dog deep in the bushes. And it's true. My eyes, like, they're trained to see animals in need of help. And yeah. So once I leave home, I see animals that need help. So it's an ongoing job. I don't want to call it a job, but it's an ongoing initiative, an ongoing thing.
Now, Elspeth, I recall that folks have done a couple of feng shui consultations for Elspeth. Whenever she moves home, she calls me. And I recall in the last one we did, you told me that you wanted things to evolve so that animal rescue became a huge part of your life. Do you remember that?
Maybe, vaguely. Well, maybe I might have, yeah.
Did. And it has. So you get what you asked for. Now, what made you decide to create an NGO? Because that was something you did during COVID, if I recall.
No, the NGO started in 2019.
Okay.
August the 2nd. I actually did not want to create an NGO in the beginning, but it was getting so big, Venus. And I must say one thing about Venus, the people who are on the page are so supportive. So they're constantly donating money. Like if there's a case, they donate. And I thought, look, this thing is getting so big. I need to have it transparent so that when people donate, they're donating to an account that is Venus Doggess of Love, 1. 2, it makes us more, it's more possible for us to get large donations from companies and, stuff like that, which hasn't happened yet. But, people give so generously, and that's what I like about Venus Doggess of Love. It's a very kind of grassroots, personalized thing. It feels like a large family of people around the world who just become so close because of these. I mean, there are people I realize who actually study the page. People say, oh my gosh, the first thing I do when I wake up is go and check and see what's happening on Venus. As soon as I come home from work, I rush to see what happened with Figgy or what, and they know all the animals by heart. They know everything. They know it more than I do sometimes. They
know who got placed in New York and who got placed in England and who went to Trinidad. Well, that's fantastic. You have actually touched their hearts, and that really aligns. You've aligned with what you call your motto, which you said is love changes lives. Tell us that.
The animal changes my life, changes the people who get the animals, everybody who becomes involved is touched and changed by love in some way. Even if you're just looking at the Facebook page, I mean, down to things like people write to me and they say, "Oh, I cried when when you wrote about such and such, or I cried over this animal," or so, like when I rescued Henrietta the chicken. Now Henrietta, you remember Terry?
The one-legged chicken, right?
No, she broke her leg.
Okay.
And there are no X-rays in no X-ray machine in Tobago, so we flew her to Trinidad in a private plane because Cal doesn't carry chickens. And actually, Terry was on that flight with.
I'm sure I certainly was.
Yes. Anyway, so many people were touched by Henrietta's story that people were writing to me and saying, you know, I used to eat chicken, but after meeting Henrietta in all these posts, I cannot eat chicken anymore. People stopped eating chicken. You know, so I think that is also love changes lives.
Everybody wants to know what happened to Henrietta with her broken leg, who flew to Trinidad in her own private plane, in which Terry was there holding Henrietta in a basket. Yeah. So
and feeding her watermelon.
And feeding her
watermelon. Real sparse illness. Henrietta went to Northwest Vet Clinic, where thankfully Dr. Piddock turned out to be a specialist when it comes to chickens, because somebody had recommended amputating the leg, and Dr. Piddock said, no, do not amputate the leg. They did x-rays, which came up to like, Henrietta's bill was massive. It was like a few $1,000s. And I just put that on the page, and within like a few hours, people had donated to cover Henrietta's bills. And then Henrietta ended up being adopted by Dr. Dionanan, a wonderful vet who helps Venus Doggess of Love immensely by coming to Tobago and working with Venus Doggess of Love to do free and very low cost spay and neuter programs.
And Dr. Dionanan is coming again in July, correct? You guys having another?
Yeah. Yes. Yep, we're going to do another one. We're going to spay and neuter 100 animals.
Cats and dogs?
Cats and dogs over a period of 5 days, 60 cats and 40 dogs.
Okay, so this particular session that you have here with us you might find that certain people respond to that call. What do you need for that spay and neuter clinic, Elspeth?
Quite a few things. One thing I would say is volunteers. Now, a surprising amount of people from Tobago volunteered, but they seem more interested in registering and cleaning, that kind of on-site thing. What I really need is more active hands-on volunteers who are willing to pick up and transport homeless dogs and trap and transport feral cats. We will provide the traps, and I just need people to set it up, and then when the cats are caught, bring them in. So definitely hands-on volunteers who are not afraid of animals, not afraid of trapping. Yeah. Funding to cover everything as well is our initial funding source did not come through, but it is going ahead. It is going ahead. I'm just approaching another source, and magic happens.
And Elspeth, what is a typical day for you with Venus Doggess of Love?
Typical day, I wake up, I go straight to the canine cottage, which is not far from home, about 10-15 minutes on a bike, 5 minutes in a car. And I take care of the canine tenants who are currently there, which is, as I said earlier, 4 of them. One is currently boarding at the shelter while she recovers from her stay. And I clean it up and feed them, spend a little time with them. Then I just come home. I have other work that I do, obviously, my income earning things. And yeah, or just generally, sometimes it involves dropping an animal to the vet or picking up an animal, or somebody calls about something and then I have to go and attend to it, that kind of stuff. So some of it is quite random.
But you find that every day there's a call to go and help some animal?
On many days. And even if there's not a call, it's not just in Tobago. People from Trinidad also write to me asking for help. So a lot of animals also get help in Trinidad through Venus. I have a network not a big network, but there are people in Trinidad that I can reach out to who will help and do certain things.
And you also have some vet clinic that offer special arrangements for Venus clients, correct?
Can you repeat that?
You also have some vets in Trinidad and I think Tobago who offer special deals for Venus clients. They'll help at a different rate because of Venus. Is that right?
Trinidad more so, in Trinidad more so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say you got an animal rescued today in Tobago from the rainforest. You found an abandoned animal on a hike and you bring it in. What's your typical move for that animal? It's starved, it needs care. What do you do, Elspeth?
If there is, the first thing I would do is take it to the vet. If it's at a time when the vet is open, if not, then it'll go the next day. To get it checked up, which might include blood work. Does it have tick fever? If it has mange or whatever, just addressing whatever it needs to be addressed. And I will board it at the shelter. I don't, and I've never relinquished to the shelter because then you more or less lose control over what becomes of the animal. So boarding at the shelter until the animal is well enough to be released, in which case either by then there's a home for it. If not, it'll go to the canine cottage if there is space at the canine cottage. Sometimes animals also come here for a little while, but generally there's a high turnover of adoption. Just lately we have not had that much speed in terms of adoption.
And the high turnover of adoption, if I am correct, Elspeth, is largely due to your efforts at generating interest and support among your followers to get that dog adopted, correct? So you are constantly, I have to say, promoting the animals that are passing through to get them to good home. Yes?
I constantly promote them and promote, more importantly, their personalities, because people fall in love with a personality. And also they look at, some dogs people will look at and say, oh my gosh, what an ugly dog, but no dog is ever ugly. I've had people look at like Barbara in the States. She looked at two little mangy puppies that I found outside of Penny Savers. We call them Penny and Saver. And she just wrote to me from Vermont and she's like, how much does it cost to bring them up here? These are two mangy puppies that you take it to the vet and they would have probably put them to sleep. And, they just end up with these amazing lives. When you can fall in love with the personality, and I capture their essence and bring it across daily. So a day doesn't pass that I don't promote an animal that needs to be homed.
And one of my favorite sayings is that it's all about the chi. And what you're saying is you express or capture the energy of those animals who are right now undernourished, sick, terrified. You capture the energy and you express that to the world and people respond to that. You are like the angel in between the animal that is now and the animal that it has inside, that has a potential to be. And you get people to believe that and to respond to that.
Yeah, you're right. It's true. Every animal has that essence that is just like people, sometimes people, there's an experiment somebody did, like, she was going up to people who are just walking along and they're like this, la-di-da. And then she says she takes a picture. She says, may I take a picture? And she takes it. And then she says something like, you're so beautiful. Or she's filming rather. And she goes, you're so beautiful. And the way that person you actually see the faces change just by knowing that they are beautiful. And that is it with an animal. All animals are beautiful. People write and they see a dog and they're like, what breed is it? What breed is it? That's the first thing they're asking. And that's not the important thing. If you say it's a pothound, they don't want it. Some people, because they want the brand name that goes with a fancy dog. But the first thing was, oh, I like this dog. But then they go, well, okay, it's not a special breed. I don't want it. So I think what Venus, Doggess of Love, aims for as well is to show people it's not about what kind, not what brand of jeans you're wearing. How does that pair of jeans fit you? How do you look in that pair of jeans? It's the same thing with the dog. It's not what kind of dog it is. It's like, do you love this dog? Does this dog love you? Does it look good? Does it feel good? You know, those are the things that
Does it connect with
matter.
you? When does it connect with your heart? Does its energy connect with your energy? And
Exactly.
Elspeth, what is coming across really clear for me is that yes, those animals have that potential. I may have to rescue again. Hold on. Shana snuck in the back way. Those animals have that potential, but at the time when you intervene in their life, they don't have anybody to speak for them, and you are the person that speaks for their energy, their chi, to the wider world, so that they can find a loving home. So let's not be shy, Elspeth. What you do is huge for these animals, and not just in the physical day-to-day cleaning and washing and bathing and you know, treating their mange, but in terms of transforming what the world's point of view of what that animal could be. Because what they see is no reflection of what it could be. And you are that bridge. You are a bridge. You're an angel bridge. That's what I see. Sorry, I get excited and carried away when I think of it.
Yeah. You there?
I'm here. So I think maybe the internet got slow for a second. Yeah. Now, Elspeth, there wasn't a particular patong that went to the States and won some championship prizes. You want to tell us about that one?
That one was called Gala, from Gala Trace in Buku. That there were two visitors, Sandra and Leanne, who had gone to ride horses, and they found this puppy and just fell in love with her and wanted to take her back to the States. And well, Mary Sudeen, who's my landlady friend, also the mother of a very good friend of mine, she has always, for years, has been very involved in helping to send dogs abroad. So she helped them to send Gala to the States. And Sandra and Leanne is a vet, Sandra is a dog trainer. And they train a lot of dogs for agility competitions and stuff. And Gala has won some awards at, several high profile championships in the States.
Yes.
Yeah. Quite a lot of our rescues who go up there, up to the States, I would say maybe up to 15 or more, maybe 15 to 20 Venus rescues have gone up. Quite a bit. So I have to count it again, but I remember counting and it was up in the high teens. I've gone to live in Massachusetts, mainly through Sandra. You know, she connects us with friends and they're all in these dog circles, agility circles. So a lot of these dogs end up getting training, and they really, apart from having great lives, they're very active, and a lot of them enter these agility contests. So it's quite an active and rewarding life for them when they go to live abroad.
And to think that if they had stayed in Tobago, what kind of lives they might have had if they had not been rescued by you or one of your helpers, your little elves, and put under the umbrella of Venus, Doggess of Love.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, animals that don't get rescued, so to speak, whether it's by me or anybody else. I mean, there are other people who would see a puppy, pick it up and adopt it, or find somebody to adopt it. But those who don't, you know, the risks out there are high. They could get poisoned. Poisoning is very popular here. They could get hit by a car. They could just have mange and tapeworm and heartworm and all kind of different stuff that, you know, sucks their chi, as you would say, takes their energy, and, you know,
babies week after week, month after month.
Having babies month after month, nipples dragging on the ground, and these little puppies as well, do they survive? You know, a lot of them don't.
So once again, you see how important what you do is for the animals of Tobago and Trinidad, Elspeth. I can't much you up enough, girl. I can't. I think it's awesome. So I would like to ask if there are any questions from the viewers, from the people who are here with us live today. I'm going to go heads down and check, see if there's any questions on Facebook. You guys have any questions for Venus?
Yes, I have a question for Elspeth. Elspeth, I was under the impression somehow that Venus also got her name because she had like a heart-shaped nose.
Yes, heart-shaped black nose when she was a pup.
That's what I thought, and I was
Yes,
like, I
yes.
forgot
You know,
her
I
name.
even forgot about that. You see, look at somebody who studied the story and forgot, remember the part that I forgot.
You told me that to Elspeth. That was part of your Venus story. Was it?
Right, right. Oh God, I even
All
forgot that.
remembered it.
Yeah, yeah.
I was one of those people who came to Tobago and had to. That's how I first met Elspeth. I had to meet Venus, and
It's
we
true.
arranged. Yes, we arranged to meet on Little Rockley Bay, and that's how I first met you in person, Elspeth. And I got to
Small world. And you're both in the Find Your Fire tribe now. Look at that.
look
Wow.
at that. Yes. So I was living in Trinidad at the time, and I had come to yes, Mojo. I had come to Tobago, and I was like, I need to see Venus. I need to meet Venus.
Yes.
And
So true.
was that before you did the airplane flight with Henrietta the chicken?
Yes,
Yeah.
that was, yes.
So you
Because
became a fan of Venus because of that. And then there was Henrietta.
Yep.
And Mary Sudine, I know that you are here with us and that you feature very strongly in the animal rescue support system. So thank you on behalf of all the animals who you have helped through with Elspeth. Thank you, Mary.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mary is an immense help, not only with sending animals abroad, but just rescuing, I mean, like I said, I'm Mary's tenant, you know, and she just some people are like, oh no, you can't have any animals, but you know, the animals could pile on. It could be anything from a bat to a pelican to a pigeon to a seagull
Chicken.
to a dog to a cat, chicken, you name it. It's like the other day we brought home a cow, you know, and it's like, Mary,
It was a little cow, though,
guess
wasn't
what
it?
we have now? A cow.
A little cow, though, a cowlet.
A little cow.
Mary, you are definitely an angel too, and I thank you. I really do, because without you, it would be very difficult and much more challenging for Venus and for Elspeth. So thank you.
Yeah. No, Mary is a huge help. I would say Mary is probably the biggest volunteer.
So I would have to say you're an angel surrounded by angels, Elspeth.
Yes,
Okay?
yes.
Now, should anybody want to reach out to you or find Venus Doggess of Love, what's the best way for them to do that, Elspeth? If they want to help in any way with the work that you are doing. Yeah.
The best way is via the Facebook page, Venus Doggess of Love on Facebook. I know everybody is not on Facebook, but I like Facebook best because when people private message, I can see the messages. I have a history of it. It's easy for me to look back and say, okay, who was this person? How did we first connect? That kind of thing. When it's WhatsApp, it gets lost. And when it's a phone call, I have no records of what we said to each other. And I think that's important for me to remember. So Facebook page, Venus Doggess of Love.
Okay. All right. So Elspeth, when I do put this video out there, I'd encourage you to put your link, if you have a link tree, or if you want to put anything about Venus in the thread so that people can respond. All right.
Okay.
So thank you very, very much. I totally enjoyed our conversation. Thank you guys who are here live, and thank you for those who watched us on Facebook. Elspeth, my angel. Many
Thanks,
blessings.
Wendy.
Thank you for all that you do.
Good job, Elspeth. Thanks. I tried to get Temp Venus in